Hello explorers, welcome back. So this is True Crime and Uno. And some of you are going to be a little mad at me, but I'm not doing this the way you would have expected. So I am going to be doing the JonBenet Ramsey case. However, I'm not going to walk you through the case the way I have in my previous two True Crime and Unos. Instead, I'm going to be reading the U.S. Sun update that came out 9 hours ago. So let's get started. John Ramsey has welcomed new handwriting analysis of his daughter's killer's ransom note that points to a convicted pedophile as the likely author. Gary Oliva, a 59-year-old sex offender who has confessed numerous times to the murder of JonBenet, was identified by two forensic handwriting analysis experts as the likely culprit behind the ransom note in a new report shared with the U.S. Sun. Let me get into the swing of things. You guys know how it goes. John and his wife Patsy found the rambling 3-page ransom note on a staircase toward the back of their Boulder, Colorado home on December 26, 1996. After they discovered JonBenet missing from her bed. Addressed to John and purported to have been written by a small foreign faction, the author of the note requested $118,000 in exchange for JonBenet's safe return, and warned involving the police would result in her immediate execution. John made arrangements with the bank to withdraw the cash, but the kidnappers never called, as promised. Later that afternoon, John would find a cold, motionless JonBenet swaddled in a white blanket in a seldom-used storage room that the family called the wine cellar. Her wrists were tied together, black duct tape was covering her mouth, and a makeshift garrote. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Fashioned together from one of Patsy's paintbrushes and a white rope was tightly wound around her neck. The veil of suspicion immediately fell on John and Patsy, who were quickly identified as the prime suspects in the case. And the ransom note, which was written using Patsy's stationery, became the star piece of evidence against them. Handwriting experts at the Colorado Bureau of Investigations quickly ruled out John Ramsey as the note's author, but they couldn't conclusively rule out Patsy. Years of conflicting analysis from various sources would follow. In 2001, analysts Larry Ziegler and Gideon Epstein argued that Patsy likely wrote the letter, as did fellow expert Sina Wong in a later segment for Investigation Discovery, who said it's highly probable she did. However, after years of scrutiny, John and Patsy were both officially exonerated by the Boulder County District Attorney in 2008. 2 years after Patsy passed away from ovarian cancer. DNA evidence found in JonBenet's underwear and under her fingertips was used to clear them. The identity of that DNA profile remains a mystery to this day. I think I messed up somewhere. I did. John has long believed that an intruder broke into his family's sprawling 25-room home while the family was out celebrating Christmas, authored the ransom note, and then lay in wait in the basement. Dozens of potential suspects have come to the fore in the last 2.5 decades, but the case against each of them so far has lacked the smoking gun. One such person of interest is Gary Oliva, a convicted pedophile who is currently incarcerated on child pornography offenses, who has confessed numerous times in jailhouse letters to killing the tragic beauty queen by accident. In a prior interview with The Sun, John Ramsey called Oliva a compelling suspect with a litany of circumstantial evidence tying him to the crime. In addition to his confession, Oliva had ties to an address just 13 doors down from the Ramseys at the time of JonBenet's murder. A classmate of Oliva's, Michael Vale, also said he received a call from a crying Oliva on the evening of December 26, 1996, telling him, "I hurt a little girl." And now years of letters written by Oliva have been forensically analyzed by two handwriting experts, Moselle Martin and Don McCarty, who told The Sun they found several significant similarities between Oliva's scrawl and the ransom note. Martin and McCarty each conducted an independent handwriting analysis of the note and Oliva's letters and determined that Oliva most likely authored the Ramsey ransom letter. On a scale of 1 through 5, with 1 being a definitive identical match to the ransom note, both experts ranked Oliva at a 1.75. When contacted about the findings in late October, John called them very interesting. That is very interesting, he reiterated. When he was referred to us by the district attorney early on, they said he was a very interesting suspect. The district attorney told us, "Look, I know the police won't follow up on this. Will you have your investigators look into it?" And we did. And when it was described to me, all the circumstantial stuff, I said, "Man, this is the guy." My attorney told me not to jump to conclusions, but there was some circumstantial stuff that was very compelling. I don't know about him, but this is certainly encouraging. Additionally, John voiced some skepticism about the handwriting analysis in general, noting its subjective nature and how his late wife was previously designated the likely author despite her eventual exoneration. And that wasn't true at all, he said. Handwriting analysis is not an exact science, but I'm sure there are some credible experts out there. But this is an indicator for sure. This is encouraging information. McCarty and Martin both shared their extensive reports on Oliva's handwriting with the U.S. Sun. Their forensic analysis was commissioned by private investigator Jason Jensen, who has been independently probing the murder of JonBenet Ramsey for the last few years. The first thing I look for is similarities, so I start with the spacing, size, slant, margins, and things like that, said Martin. And then I look for anomalies or consistent inconsistencies, things that pop out or are very unique and different, and found so many consistent anomalies in both samples of Gary's letters and the ransom note. When you overlay some of those letters and words and letters from different eras of handwriting, and they line up so well, that's a loud pronouncement in my profession. McCarty added, and you can't make this up. 2 separate sets of documents by 2 different authors that have the exact same spacing and all the consistent inconsistencies. How could that be possible? There are too many things that are just hard to ignore. That doesn't mean to say he 100% wrote the ransom note, but it does call for a serious and more thorough investigation into Gary Oliva. In her analysis, McCarty primarily focused on the shapes of individual letters, symbols, and words found in the ransom note and the samples of Oliva's handwriting. Meanwhile, Martin zeroed in on the slant variations, pressure points, spacing, letter sizing, and other general characteristics found in each of the documents. Both of the experts highlighted a series of inconsistent anomalies present in the lowercase a's, both Oliva's writing and the killer's. In her report, McCarty highlighted that the A's in both documents contained a flattened top instead of a more traditional curve and were otherwise consistent in their overall shape. She wrote, "The contour of the oval segment of the lowercase a showed a likeness when overlapped, as did the inward lean of the stem of the A and the irregular top portion of the letter. There's a notable There's a notable indent on the stem of the A, and both sets of samples lean inward towards the left. Martin made a similar observation, likening Oliva's A's to a backward number 6 that has a prominent leftward tilt. Like McCarty, she believes those letters match the lowercase a's found in the ransom note. And I will insert pictures of the comparison between Oliva's letters from the jail and the ransom note that was left at, or that was found at the Ramseys. I'm not going to continue reading like the differences between each individual letter and how they came to their conclusion, but I will show you guys at this point each of those comparisons side by side. Okay. For McCarty and Martin, the biggest breakthrough in their analysis indicating that Oliva could have plausibly authored the ransom note came when taking a closer look at the double L's in each sample. Martin highlighted that the distance between the two L's is consistently dead on. A key characteristic of the letters is found in the second L, which often features an unusual curvature. This was the eureka moment, said Martin. I can't make this stuff up, and what I like about this is that we have different types of writing instruments. We have ink, gel pen, or ballpoint pen in Oliva's letter, and a Sharpie or marker pen in the ransom note, but the pressure points are still the same. So we're seeing the same heavy pressure, the same wobbly pressure, the same different things in both documents that line up perfectly, even though they're completely different writing instruments. Similarly, showing samples of the double L's overlaid, McCarty chimed in. What we're seeing here is that the L's are exact in their spacing, nearly exact in their length, and they all have this little curve in the bottom. There are 3 traits right there, and it's on multiple words throughout the ransom note. So I have the word will from his known writing, and I can use those L's to match all these words. So it's pretty significant when you think about that little wobble down here at the bottom. It has the same curvature on the inside L, and the L on the right has more of a wobble on all of them. That to me was huge. Sorry, I'm losing track of where I'm at. This is a lot of money for Uno. We are doing $100 because I will have my thoughts at the end as well. Summarizing her findings, McCarty said, I can't say 100% that he did it. I wasn't there and I didn't see who wrote it, so there's no way to say for certain. But to me, he certainly warrants further investigation. At the conclusion of Martin's report, she assigned a likelihood rating of 1.75 that Oliva authored the ransom note. This rating is based on the notable similarities and anomalies found in the examination, which strongly suggest the possibility of his authorship, wrote Martin. However, it is crucial to acknowledge the inherent limitations of the analysis and remain open to other concrete evidence that may affect this professional opinion. McCarty independently came to the same likelihood rating of 1.75, citing a substantial overlap and a significant number of similarities between Oliva's handwriting and that of the killers. In conclusion, the comprehensive analysis presented in this report was executed using meticulous methodology. This careful scrutiny revealed a degree of similarities between the handwriting patterns in the ransom notes and the writings attributed to Mr. Oliva, surmised McCarty. These shared characteristics were not confined to common patterns. They extended to several unique traits consistently observed across both sets of samples. These findings suggest a compelling argument for the further investigation of Mr. Oliva's potential role as the author of the ransom note. With that said, it is my professional opinion that it is entirely plausible that Mr. Oliva penned the questioned document based on the examples I presented in this document as well as the layover presentation video, and also based on the digital copies of the documents I used for comparison. The Boulder Police Department has been contacted for comment about the findings, blah, 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 blah. They have routinely declined to discuss the case and any information regarding potential suspects, citing an active and ongoing investigation. Gary Oliva is currently incarcerated in Colorado. He was arrested in June of 2016 after being found in possession of hundreds of images of child pornography in Boulder, Colorado. Oliva was one of 38 registered sex offenders found to have been living within a 2-mile radius of the Ramsey family in 1996. He had been convicted in 1990 of sexually abusing a 7-year-old. The following year, he was also charged with attempted murder after he tried to strangle his mother with a telephone cord in Pass, Oregon. The following year, he was also charged... However, Oliva wouldn't land on the radar of Boulder police until 4 years after JonBenet's murder in December of 2000, when he was arrested for trespassing on the campus of the University of Colorado. Oliva has drawn a series of disturbing images of JonBenet over the years and penned a series of love letters to her. During the incident of Gary Oliva being arrested trying to trespass onto the University of Colorado, he was found to be in possession of drugs, images of JonBenet, newspaper clippings from her case, and a poem about the young girl titled Ode to JonBenet. He was also found to be carrying a stun gun, a particularly interesting detail to cops because they believe one may have been used to subdue JonBenet before she was killed. Oliva was once again arrested in Boulder 16 years later, this time for uploading images depicting the sexual abuse of children to his personal Gmail account on public Wi-Fi connections across the city. Found on his devices were also hundreds of images of JonBenet, including pictures from her autopsy. After 3 years behind bars, Oliva began sending confession letters to his old classmate, Michael Vale. Writing in one, "I never loved anyone like I did JonBenet, yet I let her slip and her head bashed in half and I watched her die." Investigators said in the early Gary Oliva has never been charged in connection with JonBenet's death. Investigators said in the early 2000s that he wasn't found to be a match for the DNA at the scene. However, Boulder Police Department has not explicitly ruled him out as a suspect either. We are losing our stuff over here. So, what do we think? There's a lot to unpack there. One, after seeing the handwriting analysis, I'm just not convinced. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I'm not convinced. Two, I have thought from the beginning, and my husband knows this, anybody who has ever heard me talk about this case knows this, I wholeheartedly believe that Burke Ramsey did it. JonBenet's older brother. If you've watched any interviews with him, he's a very odd child, especially immediately being interviewed after, like when the police were interviewing him, when the child psychologists were interviewing him. He's just a very bizarre child. I don't necessarily know that it was one of those things where, I do know, like, I don't think he planned it in any sense. It wasn't like, oh, he hated his sister, so he was going to kill her kind of thing. They had been fighting earlier in the day. And what I think happened is that they got up in the middle of the night and something happened and he killed her. Do I think he intended to kill her? No. But I think he did, and I think his parents were faced with the fact that they had already lost JonBenet. And did they, yes, their son did something horrible, but he was still just a child, and did they want to lose him too? And so at that point, I think they covered for him. This has been my thought for the last 25 years. Um, no one can change my mind. Now, the only thing that puts a flaw in my theory is that they did find unknown DNA in her underwear and under her fingernails. And that's the only thing that is kind of like, okay, whose is it? Now, if you're not familiar with the case, a few things to note here. This happened on December 26, 1996. Sorry, December 25th, 1996. So it was Christmas. And they actually, they found that JonBenet was not in her bed. Apparently they didn't search the house very well. So they woke up, they found that JonBenet was not in her bed, and they ended up finding a ransom note. It was a 3-page rambling about the faction. They were demanding $118,000. And it's just a really odd number. It's a very specific number to be demanding. They were a very wealthy family, but $118,000 is just a very specific number. It was written on Patsy Ramsey's stationery using a marker that they got out that was found in the it came from their kitchen drawer. The stationery came from the kitchen drawer, which is why they immediately thought the parents had something to do with it. My theory is, again, yes, Patsy probably did write that to try and cover for her son. I think they were protecting Burke. Now, here's a couple of other things that don't make sense. Supposedly they find this ransom letter. So they're assuming their daughter was kidnapped, and they're waiting for the hostage taker, the kidnapper, to call to give them instructions on where to deliver this money. Now, why would somebody go through all of the trouble to pen this letter, this ransom note, if they never actually kidnapped her? Because while the parents were waiting for this ransom or this kidnapper to call, who never called, they ended up finding JonBenet's lifeless body in the basement. It was like a room in the basement that they didn't really go to. It was kind of an empty room. Like it said in the article, they referred to it as the wine cellar. Just a really cold, like, empty room. They found her in there wrapped up in like a white blanket, tied up. So while they're reading this ransom note, their daughter is already dead in their home. I'm sorry, if I see that my child is missing from their bed, I'm gonna search the house looking for them. Even if there was a ransom note, I'm going to be calling the police. I'm going to be searching the house. And it's easy to say because obviously I've never been in this situation, but I just think that their actions were way too peculiar. And again, what kidnapper is going to tell them they want a ransom? They're going to be calling for $118,000. Don't call the police, blah, 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 when the child is... when they left the child dead in the house. Like, that just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense anywhere. Now, Boulder Police Department completely botched this. They never secured the crime scene. They had friends and family coming and going from this house throughout the day. And basically, all evidence was contaminated at that point. So that did not help in the situation whatsoever. But if you don't know a lot about this case and you want to look further into it, I highly recommend looking into, like, just watching some of the interviews that Burke did. So that is my take. Like I said, some of you guys are not going to be thrilled about the way that I did this video, but I didn't feel like going through the whole video, the whole case all over again. There's so many things out there on it, and this just came out 9 hours ago. So I thought that was the best way to do this. Now, am I going to do all of them like this? Absolutely not. But this was one of those that I was actually avoiding doing it, which is why there's $100 sitting here and not just $50. I've been avoiding doing it because I just didn't know where to start. It's just one of those cases that has bugged me for a long time. I actually don't really like to talk about it because it gets me so frustrated. If there were ever a case I wanted an answer to, it would be this one. And it's really just to confirm what I feel I know. And that's that Burke did it. So yeah. Another thing to note is that the rope that was so there was a rope tied around JonBenet's neck, and they used a garrote. And if you're not familiar with what that is, so basically you have, here I have a hair tie here. You have a rope, and you would take something like a pen and twist it like this to make it tighter. The same way you would do a tourniquet. So the piece that they used, the pen, they didn't use a pen, but the pen that they used to tighten the garrote was actually one of Patsy Ramsey's paintbrushes, which is why, again, they suspected her. But once again, I think that was all a cover-up. I really do. I think that Burke accidentally killed JonBenet, and that was part of the cover-up. Or Burke did that. I mean, I really don't... That's where things become a little iffy. I don't know the exact order of the crime. Now, one of the theories out there is that the reason people think Patsy did it, because there's still people today that think Patsy did it, and they think it's because she envied her daughter. She pushed her in to do these beauty pageants, and they think that, you know, she was living vicariously through JonBenet. They think maybe JonBenet decided she didn't want to do the pageants anymore. And that's why Patsy, like, flew into a rage. Or they believe that Patsy became jealous of her daughter and killed her out of jealousy. I don't believe any of that. I really don't. I will say it's unfortunate that Patsy, up until 2 years after her death, so she died still being a suspect in her daughter's murder. And that is unfortunate, because I really don't think she did it. But let me know in the comments below your thoughts. If you have any information, if you know anything about this case, let me know what you think. If you've ever had suspicions, and let me know if, like, anything that I said has maybe changed your mind on what you believe or have believed over the years. I'm really interested to know what other people think. All right, so now we are completely done. We have put $100 in here. My husband convinced me just to go ahead and do this because I really was going to skip doing this case, even though this was always my plan. I really was going to skip this case and just do a regular Uno. And he was like, no, you need to read the update. Just read the update. I was like, that's actually a really good idea. So into trash, we're putting in $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, $11. That is a lot going into trash. So now we have $11, $12, $13, and $18 in trash. So we're going to be coloring in quite a bit. Sorry, I've been sitting on my foot this whole time. So now my foot's falling asleep. We put in 11, so we have 18. Okay. I know there's a conspiracy out there that Katy Perry is JonBenet. I don't believe any of that, which is why I'm not going to entertain that. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. $8 going into gas. So yeah, let me know. Let's open up a discussion about this, because I've already opened that can of worms in this video, so let's just discuss it in this video. So we have 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 31. 31 in gas. My kids used my markers yesterday and they didn't put any of them back. Ooh, we are only $9. Not even, because there's 31 in here and I only need 37, but we're just gonna fill this because my gas bill is actually like, I think I just got it, it was like $70. Which I don't understand how, because we haven't turned on our heat yet. It's, what is today? December 9th, and we have yet to turn on our heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, $9 going into water. So now in water we have $20. Okay. So the very next video that I do will be the November update. Everything's going to be a little behind for a little bit, but I need to do things in a certain order. I don't want to do any of the December cash stuffings, even though it's already, what, Saturday, and I should have been doing December cash stuffings as of like 3 days ago. I should have started them. I don't want to do them until I do the November update because I don't want that December money to get counted in November's update. So the next video will be a month-end update. I know I got asked on TikTok. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $11 going into Cox Internet. 12, 13, and so we have 18 in Cox. Okay, sorry about that. I had to change out my battery. So we have, it didn't die though. It did not die. I just changed it out. So we have $18 in Cox Internet. I'm most excited to see what we have in NV Energy because that one should be getting reallocated today. Progressive is getting $1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, $9. And we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's 21. So that's $41 in Progressive. Ooh. Progressive is moving along nicely. HOA is getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it has 11, 12, 13, 14, 24, $44. And I can't do, what is that? That should be 4, right? Oh, 6? No, there's 4 on there. Oh my goodness. AT&T is getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, hopefully it's got an extra dollar in here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 16, $36. So we get to color one in on AT&T, which is always exciting because AT&T has such a large, I mean, each icon is $10, and when you're only stuffing $1 at a time, it just makes it really exciting to get to color in an icon this large. Because it does take a while. Okay. Now for the moment, let's see. Ooh, it didn't get as much as most of them did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 going into NV Energy. So we now have 100, 200, 210, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that is enough to reallocate this. We're going to leave the $2 in there. I'm not going to color this in because I'm going to need to clean it off. For those of you that are new here, because I always get this question every single time, why put money in there just to take the money out? Everything in this binder is going into a high yield savings, so it does not matter. If I were to, for instance, trash, each one of these icons is only $2. The total for this is only $51. If I were to just remove this envelope when I filled it, this envelope would have been gone in like February. All of these little ones would, and we would only be left with mortgage, and you can't play Uno with just one envelope. Since all of this is going to the same account, because my goal is to have 1 month worth of bills saved up, when I finish these smaller ones, I reallocate them into mortgage, and then just start those ones over. So we just finished NV Energy for $220. We had $2 extra, so it will stay in there. Next time you guys see this, I will have cleaned this off, and we'll start it over. And that's the very first time we have actually done NV Energy, like completed NV Energy. So now let's go to Ford. Ford is getting $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9. So now Ford has 100, 200, 220, 230, 239. And the prop money does represent money that I have in a high yield savings earning interest. As of this moment, it's only been in there for 1 month. It's earned, I believe, $6 in interest. I'm still deciding what I'm going to do with that interest. What did I say this had? $239? So, 20, 40. Ooh, this is $1 short of getting the color in an icon. Makes me want to take a dollar from NV Energy, but I won't. So now mortgage got a lot, because this is not even including the NV Energy. Mortgage is getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, $19. Whoop. $19 going into mortgage, plus this $220 going into mortgage. Let me get this all situated. Okay, so now in mortgage we have 1,000, 100, 200, 210, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. $1,248. Each icon on mortgage is $100. So we get to color in 2 houses, which is amazing. And really, we just need one small one to fill up and get reallocated to be able to color in another house on here, because we have $248. Or we have $1,248. So, let's see. Are any of them close to where we'll get to put another $100 in here? Because I'm dying to put another 100 into my high yield. Let's see what's close. Ooh, gas is really close. Trash is not that close, but gas is close. I don't think gas is going to be enough, though. No, it's not. Water is not even close. Cox is not close. Okay. All right. Well, that is it for this Uno, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you back here for the November monthly update. So until next time, bye.